never gonna let you close to me, even though you mean the most to me. 'Cause every time I open up it hurts. So I'm never gonna get too close to you, even when I mean the most to you, in case you go and leave me in the dirt. But every time you hurt me, the less that I cry. And every time you leave me, the quicker these tears dry. And every time you walk out, the less I love you. Baby, we don't stand a chance. It's sad, but it's true. I'm way too good at goodbye. I'm way too good at goodbye. I know you're thinking I'm heartless. I know you're thinking I'm cool. I'm just protecting my innocence. I'm just protecting my soul.
Hey, it's James here from GoodGuitarist.com, and in today's lesson I'm going to show you how to play Too Good at Goodbyes by Sam Smith without using a capo. So I already made one that's an easy version where we put the capo on the 5th fret. Now in this one we're going to show you how to play it without a capo. It's a little bit more difficult, and you may have noticed in the recording that there's a lot of piano on it. So we're going to use our fingers for this one, and we're going to, do a little bit of finger style. We're not necessarily going to be playing piano on guitar, but we are going to be picking out some individual notes, and that's going to raise the challenge level a bit, but it's definitely going to make it sound a lot more like the original recording. Anyways, we're going to start out with the chord shapes, and they're mostly pretty simple. If you need any extra help with the chords, please check out my free ebook. It's available on our website to all of my subscribers, so check the link down below. It goes over all the fundamentals, all the basics. So if you find that this is maybe a bit too difficult, you can work up to it. There's a lot of cool stuff in there, like chord switching exercises where you just follow along with a video and practice switching between a couple chords, and all these things designed to make you sound like a good guitarist. Anyways, our first chord is going to be D minor. And when I play the D minor chord, I avoid hitting these lower 2 strings. Then next, we have an F chord. And that's little f. It's not the real big fat F bar chord. It's a bit easier to play. There is a bar in there. I'm barring the 1st fret on the top 2 strings. Then I play the 2nd fret of the G string, 3rd fret of the D string, and I'm kind of using the side of my finger to bar. I'm not using the front of it, or else you'd never be able to get these 2 fingers up there. The angle just doesn't work. So what I'm actually doing is I'm pulling my thumb to this side, and that helps me get some leverage with the side of my thumb. These fingers can come down nice and easily. Little F. And then the C chord. And finally, G minor. So we could play a G minor bar chord, but we're going to avoid that. We're going to play an open chord. The one catch with this is that we have to mute a couple strings. We're going to start out by putting our pinky on the 3rd fret of the B string. And then we're going to put our ring finger on the 3rd fret of the G string. And let's just stop right there, and let's just tilt our hand a bit so that we get those 2 strings, but we also are muting the high E string. It's really important that you mute that string. If it comes out, it's a cool sound, but it's not the sound we're looking for in this song. So we want to mute that high E string just with the underside of our pinky finger. Then I'm going to put my middle finger down on the 3rd fret of the lowest string, and it is muting the A string. So we're not pressing perfectly down. I know a lot of the time we want to, but this time we're muting some adjacent strings on purpose just by tilting our hand down a bit. The D string is open. So once again, so make sure that you have that chord down. That's going to be the trickiest one in this song, but it's not that bad. Everything's on the 3rd fret. That's easy to remember. Just got to mute those couple strings. So before we get to any of the finger picking, let's quickly practice switching between these chords, starting on D minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. couple more times. Last time. Cool, so before moving on, make sure that you can make nice, clean chord switches with the rhythm, because when we're finger picking, you'll really notice if one or two of your strings aren't working. Anyways, once you're good with that, we can add some finger picking to it, and it's gonna sound like this. So that's pretty easy, you know, there's just one little noodly bit, otherwise it's just picking each one once. So we're starting out on D minor. And for that one, I'm only picking these 3 strings. I have my thumb on the 4th string, first finger, my middle finger on the B string, and I just pluck them all at the same time. 2, 3, 4. Then we switch to our little F, and I'm plucking the top 4 strings. So thumb, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. Then we switch to C, and for C, these 3 fingers are staying on the top 3 strings, just like they were on F, and now my thumb is on the 5th string. And then I bring my first finger down to bar, just like we do on little F. You know, I'm just barring those first 2 strings, and I pluck that string with my ring finger. And then I put my 4th finger down on the 3rd fret of the B string, and I pluck that string, while still holding this chord shape. So C is the part where it gets a bit more complicated. The whole thing looks like this. So I pluck those strings, then I tilt my finger down to bar the 1st fret of the first 2 strings, pluck it, and then I pluck the 3rd fret of the B string, all while still holding that chord shape. And then we switch to G minor, and our pinky finger is already where it needs to be, so leave it down so that that melody note can continue. See, that note ends up being the highest note in the G minor chord, so we need to let it keep ringing, and it's really simple, just leave it down. Play your C chord. That's it. And for G minor, we're plucking the lowest string, skip a string, D, G, B. So let's take one more look at that whole thing, nice and slow. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. 2, 3, 4. And once you've worked that out, we can try it together nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what we would play up until the first chorus, and that's when the rhythm picks up. So we'll start playing a strumming pattern there. We're going to use the exact same chord shapes, except instead of little f, we're going to play this voicing, which is pretty similar. We skip the first string, first finger, second finger, put our pinky on the 3rd fret of the D string, and then the 3rd fret of the A string. Mute the lowest string by getting your thumb over it, and the highest string by just touching it with the underside of your first finger. You could also do an F bar chord. That would be even better, but if not, we can just stick with this. Otherwise, the rest of the chord shapes are the same. So here's the strumming pattern. And that's down, down, up, up, down, 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 up. We can break that up into a few parts to make it a little bit easier. First, we have down, down, up. And if we count that one out, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we add up, down after that. And the counting for that little bit, 1 and 2. So for beat 1, we just kind of miss the strings. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. And when you put it together with the first part, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And then all we have to do is add down, down, up to the end of that. And we get the entire strumming pattern. So the whole thing with the counting nice and slow. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So work through that with the counting super duper slowly, get the mechanics going, and once you can get the right order with the counting, you can start to speed it up bit by bit to get the groove going. And when you're ready, we can put that together with the chords and play through the chorus. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to be playing it with the strumming pattern for pretty much the rest of the song, except during the pre-chorus. That's the part where it breaks down and he says, every time you hurt me, etc. And during the outro when it slows down a bit. And aside from that, that's the whole tune. So work out each part, take your time with this one. And if you need any extra help, please feel free to check out our ebook. It'll help train you up on all the basics. Other than that, I hope you have a good time practicing, and I'll see you next week.